Good afternoon, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. In this 5-minute fix video, we are going to attempt to fix my trimmer, my Husqvarna 128LD string trimmer. It is running very poorly. It basically only run at half choke. It's not really usable for its job. And we're going to try to remedy that by replacing the carburetor. Without further ado, let's get to it. As I mentioned, this is going to be a 5-minute fix about how do you replace the carburetor in a Husqvarna 128LD string trimmer. What's going on with this one is you can follow the prime sequence. It'll start and it'll run okay at half choke, but if you try to rev up or bring it down to no choke, even once it's warm, it dies. It's running real rich, and when you look at the price of a carb rebuild kit and everything versus buying an OEM from Husqvarna carburetor, it's cheaper to buy the carburetor. So that's what led to this video. This trimmer is 10 years old, and I think there's still plenty of life left in it, so I'm willing to throw 40 bucks at a carburetor. Anyway, let's get to it. First things first, we need to take this housing off. So we will unscrew the air filter housing, like so. You're going to need to remove your air filter. So you can just put a little bend in it real quick, pop it out. Once you do that, you'll see, and you can actually see them pretty well here. I'll get it up nice and close so you can see better. That is a pair of 8mm nuts, and they're going to need to come out. As I was trying to say, they should not be in there too terribly tight. So we'll get these out of here. That's one. Almost have two. There's two. You're going to want to move this choke switch out here, and then kind of wiggle that off. And there is our carburetor. Now the carburetor itself has got a couple of linkages we got to pull, and I'll go over that in a second. Okay, so the carburetor is going to be held in by these fuel lines down here at the bottom. You've got two, right? You have an in and an out. And you got them backwards, you'll know, because, you know, won't work. But you have your throttle linkage up here. And the trick to that is you want to bend this back. Well, not bend it, but it'll move back. Pick my camera up so you can see. But you move it back, and then that will give you the slack you need in the cable to pull this out. I can't do it one-handed, but it's a little S-shaped retainer, and you can just pop it out once you have it all the way back here and you have slack. Once you do that, and you do the fuel lines, carburetor should come right out. And unfortunately, my tripod it's not the one that lets us have a lot of extra visibility. What we're going to do, I'll bring you around to this side so you can see there's this black plastic thing, which I don't know what it is exactly. I think it's just a guide for the throttle cable. But you get that out of the way, and then should be able to get this out of the way. There it goes. All right, we got the throttle cable out, so then we can pull back. And the new carburetor comes with new gaskets, new everything, so I'm not worried about this big gasket guy here. So I'm not worried about him tearing or anything. I'm gonna pull that off. All right, so here is our fuel lines. So you have an in and an out. One is slightly bigger than the other, so kind of take a note which one's going where, right? And Looks like that one's leaking now. Lovely. But we'll go ahead and just pop this off. So the other thing you should do is be more intelligent than me. And number one, don't have a full tank of gas like this basically has. And number two, if you do have a tank of gas, pop this off to vent any pressure in the tank. And that will keep gas from spewing everywhere onto your floor and then making your office / working space smell like gasoline for the next week or two. Yeah. Not the smartest maneuver by yours truly. Now remember, we're swapping a carb, so this has got to come off. Just kind of twist it off, push it off, however you need to do it. And we'll get this back on over here. Okay. So we are almost ready for our new carb. And honestly, this one, probably, if I thoroughly took it apart with a rebuild kit, ultrasonic cleaner, it'd be fine. I just don't have time for that. So the last thing we got to do is get this old gasket out of here. All right, we are ready for new carburetor. So official part number from Husqvarna is 545081848. As I mentioned, you get a brand new gasket, and you can hold that up to the old one to figure out how you need to place it. And you also get a brand new carburetor, and it's going to have clean gasket surface. You know, wow, that's a lot stiffer. You know, new primer bulb. Whole 9 yards, all brand shiny new. So just swap on, swap off. Okay, as you can see, got the new gasket on. It can only go on one way correctly. Got this throttle cable back on its little seat, like so. And now we have a carburetor put on. And this is the part that always gets me, is the fuel lines. I always have to go back and look, but pretty sure with the priming bulb going like this, it's going to be a little something like this. And slide this back on. And you'll have the cables kind of fight you, the fuel lines. So you may have to kind of shove them out of the way. And then it'll go in tight. Okay. So then you've got this fella here. Move you over. There we go. Gotta get our throttle linkage back in. There that goes. So we can test that. Yep. And I mean, that's pretty much it. We just put everything back together now and then fire it up and see if it behaves. All right, so we're on the little front porch of my office here. Gonna go ahead and we'll run it through the start sequence, let it warm up, see if it'll run without needing half choke. This is still half choke. able to idle, so it's already a big improvement over what I had. Looks good. Notice that when I rev it, it doesn't really bog. All right, I think that's gonna do it. It kind of speaks for itself. So that's a good repair. If you enjoyed this video, if you liked this video, if you found it interesting, if you found it entertaining, please consider sharing, and subscribing. That does help to grow the channel and allow me to bring you more videos and projects like this. Please also leave a comment. I like to read them, I like to reply to them, and I like to learn from them as well. And as always, guys, I make the mistakes so you don't have to. I'll catch you guys next episode.